Hey guys, it's Brandon, aka Be Rich Beauty, aka your beauty best friend. And today we're wrapping this up and we're finishing this look. So we're going to take everything that we've done for episode 1 and 2 and we're putting a bow on it with episode 3. So let's jump right in. You know the drill. What are we sipping on? I'm still sipping on my Caipirinha, darling. And so if you're over 21, grab your favorite alcoholic beverage. If you're under 21, grab your favorite non-alcoholic beverage. And let's sip and see to wrap up this look. All right, let's get started.
My favorite moment, mascara. So we're gonna take a little mascara with my model looking down. I'm gonna rest the wand right at the root of the lash. Give it a little bit of a shimmy, shimmy, shimmy motion. I'm going to roll the top to create separation. Because again, who doesn't want to look lash-tastic? And then we're going to go back underneath just to ensure that we separate everything out. And the same on the other side. So now we're going to do a little bit of mascara on the bottom. And I want to just talk about mascara because I think it's super important. It's all about the brush and the formula. So you have to decide whether you want lots of volume, if you want volume and curl, or do you want more definition. And then you want to choose the brush that fits best for you based off of whatever is your favorite mascara brand. So because my model's eyes are a little bit smaller, I chose a wand that was going to be smaller to ensure that we got the mascara on without it becoming messy. So now we're going to do a little bit of bottom mascara, and I'm just going to pounce it into the bottom just to slightly coat it. Look all the way up for me. And I'm taking the wand, lining it up vertically, and I'm just dabbing it on the bottom. If you have trouble with this, a great tip is taking a wedge sponge with the wedge underneath the bottom lash, and you can press it on that way and avoid getting some fallout. And of course, if you do, don't panic. Allow it to dry and it flakes right off. So I'm gonna add a little bit of blush. We're gonna go peachy coral just to brighten up the complexion here. We're gonna start running the apples because I want the concentration of color to lay on the apples. Smile for me. Thank you. Starting the apple, sweep it back towards the ears. Blush color on an Ageless Beauty, again, texture is super important. You want to do something depending on the texture of the skin. If it is overly textured, meaning lots of fine lines or wrinkles, you may want to avoid things that are overly shimmery and chunky in terms of texture, so that way you don't highlight that area. Our Ageless Beauty doesn't have a lot of concern with texture, especially in the cheek area. So I used something that had a slight little sheen just to continue to build in some luminosity. If you were concerned on texture, you want to go more matte. Last but not least, for the blush area, I'm going to add in just a little bit of luminosity. So I'm going to take a cream that has pearlescent pigments in it to bring some more light to the skin. I'm going to concentrate it right on the high planes where I want to see it. So I'm laying the product. And I'm just going to slightly buff it out. So what this is doing is giving us more dimension and creating skin that truly looks edible. We're focusing the placement on the high planes of the cheekbone. And we're just buffing it out. Be mindful not to bring it too low, so that way it doesn't work its way into the blush, but stops right where your blush started. And now we have a complete look. Only thing that's missing is our lip.
Pause for the cause. That was a sippable moment. I'm sipping, I'm learning, you're learning, we're sipping. Let's move on to the next one.
So now we're about to do lips. So I chose this beautiful liquid matte red color. Has a beautiful vibrant shade to it. So I'm gonna take my lip brush and I'm gonna grab a little bit of the product with your mouth open slightly. I'm gonna start right in the center with the brush And we're going to lay the color through the center, working our way to the edges of the lip, like so. One of the things I like doing when I'm doing a bold lip here is I like to get the lip color on first, and then I'll go back with my liner, especially with it being so vibrant, and start to perfect the edges. I'm going to rest my finger here, lift up gently, start in the inner part of the lip, and then gently pull it up into the edge, slowing down my brush motion to keep it as tight and clean as possible. I prep the lip beforehand again with a primer that's going to keep it from feathering but also make the lip feel comfortable wearing such a mattifying color. The lip primer comes in handy here. It almost acts like double-sided sticky tape for your lip color. So I'm going to use my lip liner to actually match this color. We're going to start in the corner and we're going to pull it down and around. Going slightly underneath the ridge of the lip here, just to give it a slight maximizing property. And in an attempt to ensure symmetry, we're going to start in the corner here and pull it around as well. Working on top, I want to ensure that I create balance, but also really nice to find Cupid's bow. So I'm going to start right at the Cupid's bow and kind of create a little bit of a guide for us. So I'm going to start right on the angle of the Cupid's bow. And I'm going to go in, wrap around there, start on the other side, pull up, wrap around there, and then go from the corners and connect up. You want the lines to be as clean as possible. And what you do to one side, you want to do with the other to ensure symmetry. As I work closer to the cupids, I'm going to slow down some and pull it in. Perfect. Now, don't forget the corners. Oftentimes we do our line, and as soon as you open your mouth to take a sip of your favorite cocktail, you have a disconnected lip. Always take time to connect your corners. Open for me. Perfect. So I'm just going to work through the ridge here. I'm going to pull up, inward, and connect our corners. Relax. Perfect. Looking at my edges just to make sure it's nice and clean. I can tighten up those edges just a little bit more. I'm going to use a very small flat top brush with a little bit of concealer in the same complexion as the model, and we're going to clean it up that way. So now I'm going to go back in with a flat top brush with a little bit of concealer just to clean up our edges. So I'm using concealer in the same color as the model. I'm taking the brush, I'm laying it at the corner, doing a slight side-to-side motion, and I'm pulling away. So this allows us to have a little bit more precision. If I need to clean up the corners a little bit more here, I'm going to take it and I'm going to slice it upward. And if I was working to clean up the top, I would lay my brush almost in pendulum motion and work up that way. And there you have it. An Ageless Beauty with a neutral eye, beautiful pop of color on the cheek, a nice beautiful peach, a slight highlight to bring luminosity and some gorgeous realness to the skin. And we finish it off with a classic bold red lip.
Hey guys, so that brings us to the end of our Ageless Beauty series, and I hope you enjoyed it. Before we wrap, I want to share a little bit of a story though with you all, because you're like my beauty family now. So LaGail Adams, who's the model in the video, who I call Mama Adams, I just want to dedicate this video to her. A couple years ago, when I originally shot this video, I called her prior and said, hey, I'm shooting some videos in Atlanta. Will you be my Ageless Beauty? I want to do this series. And so she goes, absolutely. So I grew up with her children. Jessica, Alex, and Lindsay. We went to middle school, high school together. It's like my extended family, right? And so we get done filming, and she's like, oh, let me call my husband so he can know when to pick me up. So we have to drive back to Macon. And obviously, for anybody that may not know, Macon is about a little over an hour from Atlanta. And I said, wait a minute. I hadn't spoken to her in a couple of years, so I didn't know she was living in Macon. I said, wait a minute. You're going to Macon? Why? And she goes, that's where we live now. And it blew my mind. I said, oh my God, you literally drove up just for this? And she goes, absolutely, because I know how amazing you are. And that's just the kind of person she is. So I'm dedicating this video to her, and this series to her actually, because a couple years ago she earned her wings and she's no longer with us. And so I'm not gonna get emotional, but I really wanna dedicate this to her, in the memory of her, because she was really an angel on earth. So loving, so caring, so passionate, just really, really genuine. She made everybody feel like family who she met. And so, Mama Addams, thank you for being my model. Thank you for being my ageless beauty on earth. And I know that you are truly iconic in heaven. So, mwah. Jessica, Alex, and Lindsay, love you lots. And I hope you enjoy. So you know what to do. Turn on your notifications handy, subscribe, and cheers to you. Until next time, ciao. Love you lots.